What's going on, everyone? My name is Jazz, and thanks for entering the Lobby of Hobbies. I'm back with another top 5 episode, and for this top 5, I'm going to dedicate it to my buddy Max over on the Table Knots YouTube channel. I'm going to put a link to his channel down in the description below. But me and Max have recently been talking about our shelf of shame, or what we would better say, our shelf of opportunity. Those are the games that are on our shelves that we have not yet played. So for this list, I'm going to be giving you my top 5 games that are on my shelf of opportunity that I have been waiting and wishing that I could get to the table. So stick around for this one. Alright, now before we get into this top 5 list, I first want to just let you know exactly how many games that I had to go through to decide which ones were going to be in this top 5. So, being transparent, I have exactly 36 games still unplayed in my collection.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I'm trying to dwindle down and get it to a much more manageable number. But of course, with new Kickstarters being delivered and things like that, sometimes that number just jumps back up right when you start working on it and getting it down, which I did have it under 30 at one point. So, of course, COVID does make it a little bit difficult trying to get together with people that you normally game with, especially when some of these games are a little bit heavier than my family would normally play. So let's jump into it with my number 5. And that is Grand Austria Hotel, designed by Simone Luciani and published by Lookout Games. Now, in Grand Austria Hotel, it's a worker placement game where players are taking control of their cafes, and they're trying to win over or sway over customers to stay in their little hotel and gain victory points. Now, while it is a worker placement game, this one is specifically a dice placement game, which I've been very interested in checking out. I've heard a lot of great things about it. This one is in the BGG Top 100 list. So just based on the recommendations from what I've heard from a lot of people and friends, this is one I've been looking to check out for quite some time, and it's probably the most recent game. It's definitely the most recent in my collection of the 5 on my list, but probably the most recent of some of the games that are actually in my collection as well. So that is my number 5, Grand Austria Hotel. Now on to my number 4, which is a game based on a very, very popular IP. And this one is a game that plays anywhere from 2 to 4 players, but it's definitely said to best be played at 2 players, and that is, yes, Star Wars Rebellion. Now, Star Wars Rebellion, honestly, what makes this difficult to actually get to the table is my buddy Brian, who the one that I normally would game with specifically on this because he is the huge Star Wars buff. We haven't honestly been able to get together due to the whole COVID pandemic. But this one is one where players are choosing if they're going to play the Galactic Empire or they're going to play the Rebel Alliance. And the Rebels are trying to hide their base. The Empire is trying to snuff out that base and destroy the base. And the Rebels trying to do their espionage, sabotaging tactics. And honestly, this one is what they would say Star Wars in a box. So I've been really looking forward to checking this one out. I've heard a lot of great things about this one. A lot of people have this one up there on their list of their best games to be played at 2 players all time. So I'm highly looking forward to get this one to the table soon. And that is my number 4, Star Wars Rebellion. Now on to my number 3, which is a heavier economic Euro game, and this is Pipeline, designed by Ryan Courtney and published by Capstone Games. Now in Pipeline, players are running oil companies, and they're trying to manufacture or refine oil, and they're trying to buy and sell oil at different rates and fluctuating prices in the market to ultimately become the one who runs the best oil company. Now, this one has some elements of worker placement as well as tile placement when you're, placing your tiles down and deciding when you're going to place your workers, whether you're going to place them out onto the board to do more actions or create more tiles, or actually place them onto your pipes and actually generate or refine oil for you. So this has some really neat crunchy elements that was definitely one that attracted me to this game. The artwork does look beautiful, and this is one that I've been looking to check out for quite some time, and that is Pipeline from Capstone Games. Now, on to my number 2, which is a game that is, gets a lot of buzz. A game that, I'm ashamed that it's been in my collection. I haven't even gotten it to the table, and this one is Brass Birmingham. Now, Brass Birmingham is pretty much set in England's Industrial Revolution, like late 1700s to mid 1800s, where players are going to be, you're going to be creating different canals and railways, and they're trying to, create these different industries of like cotton and breweries and what else is it? And potteries and different ironworks. And it has a economic element too, where there's going to be a fluctuating market as well. And this one is, players are trying to gain the most victory points, and whoever has the most victory points at the end of the game does win. This one's designed by Martin Wallace and published by Roxley Games, and Roxley Games puts out some incredible, highly produced games, and this one does look beautiful. So that's definitely one that really attracted me, was just the beauty of the art in this game. So I'm highly anticipating to get this one to the table, hopefully soon. And this one is Brass Birmingham at my number 2. Now, many of you are probably saying, if Brass is at number 2, what could possibly be at number 1? My number 1 is a game that actually was in my collection at one point, and I did get it to the table. I had it set up. I started playing the solo variant, and then for some reason, I honestly can't remember why, but I think it was just a late night, and the next day I couldn't get it to the table, so I wound up packaging it back up. Never got it back to the table, wound up trading it away, and then I was itching to finally get the game back into my collection, which I recently did. And this one is Anachrony, designed by David Turczi, and this one is published by Mind Clash Games. Now, this one is not the original Kickstarter version that I used to have. This is the, I guess it has the slimmed down version, the Essential Edition, which plays 2 to 4 players. The original version came with the different modules, the solo player module and everything like that. But this is just the base game. I also have the miniature exosuits that can go along with this. But Anachrony is a worker placement game where pretty much players are taking control of one of the 4 different factions in the game, and each faction plays differently. There's asymmetric powers between the factions, and pretty much the factions have their own capital cities, and what happens is there's like this kind of catastrophe that happened, and these factions are trying to rise up, but they've understood that there is another even worse cataclysmic meteorite that's actually coming to destroy Earth. And the one thing is that they've been able to find is that they're able to travel back and forth in time within these exosuits, or these little miniatures, to go travel through time rifts to be able to gather resources, to be able to in essence hopefully stave themselves off from the meteorite that is getting ready to destroy Earth. Worker placement game set in a really cool, futuristic time period is one that's always caught my eye. It definitely plays on the heavier side when it comes to games, but it's a theme that has always been intriguing to me, and it's a game that I know is very highly acclaimed, as being, a lot of people saying, one of the best worker placement games out there. And me being a huge worker placement buff, this is one that I had to get back into my collection, but now it's one that I have to get to the table eventually. So that is my number 1, which is Anachrony. So that's my top 5 list of games that are in my collection that I still have yet to play. But down in the comments below, what games are in your collection that you have still yet to play? Have you played any of these games? If so, let me know what you think about them below. Which one do you think I should try and get to the table first? So honestly, down below, let me know what it is, and hopefully I will get it to the table and I'll let you guys know what I thought about them. So I'll catch you guys on the next episode. You guys have a good one.